Welcome back, guys. Gars from the Evo project here, and today I'm bringing you the Blessed Demon build. It's a PvP build for Templar. The sets. We'll actually quickly run through what the point of this build actually is. It's a tanky DPS build using heavy armor. As a Magicka Templar, running High Elf. You can run Breton, but High Elf is a better option for this build. And I'll explain, and you'll see as we go through the build why it is. So the main set on the body is Heavy Seducer, Impen, all Magicka enchants. They've increased the cost of Magicka abilities this patch, so Seducer really does help with your Magicka resources, alongside the heavy armor with survivability, and also giving you Magicka resource it sort of helps you with that. So it's pretty much a go-to set for most Magicka builds this patch. The monster sets for this set, I like to run Lord Wardens. Not a lot of people do. I like to run something a little bit different. I know it's spell resistance, but what you're looking at is the proc. Now, hardly anyone uses Lord Wardens, and in my eyes, a lot of people use Engine Guardian, but I don't feel Engine Guardian procs enough to warrant having it for resource management, especially on a Templar when you've got Rune Focus and Repentance, that you don't really need it. I'd much prefer to have that more survivability, which a Templar does lack. I know Lord Wardens only strikes in a certain area where you got hit, but a 50% chance it procs. You know, it's for 10 seconds it's on the ground, and it can only occur every 10 seconds. So you can actually technically have it up constantly, and when you put the Templar's powerhouse down, and I'll show you the abilities in a bit, it centralises around that, and teammates can come to it. So this build is very centralised around small team play, Zerg team play, solo team play. It can do it all. Most builds do definitely centralise around group play. Everything always does better with small groups, and you get better AP in a small group anyway. I prefer Lord Wardens. I know it gives you spell resistance, and it's a little bit frustrating that it does. It should ideally, I'd like to be addressed and give you physical resistance as well. Purely because this set was so hard to get originally. It doesn't make sense why they have it like this, but anyway. The other set is Vicious Death, which just recently got patched, so it works properly now. Now, I like Vicious Death, especially with the amount of Zergs going on in PvP at the moment. You know, you only need to kill one person and you can do a lot of damage, and it ties in nice with the abilities that I run on this build. This build isn't like bang, 3 hits, you killed them sort of thing. This is sort of it's an easy build to play in a small group. Solo it's a little bit harder, and you'd probably change a few abilities around, but it can definitely do it as long as you don't spam abilities and panic. As you can see, spell damage and all the glyphs. You can take one off and put recovery on. And then run 2 Vicious Death. I do want to run Vicious Death on the back bar, I just haven't got around to getting a third Vicious Death sword yet, and I haven't got around to making that gold. And Precise is not ideal. You want Sharpened, but it's just what I had left over from a couple of patches ago. Vicious Death Shield, Reinforced. Reinforced is nice. Impen is good. Infused is good. Any of them three really. Reinforced gives you quite a bit of armour, which really stacks well with this build. The skills. So on the dual wield bar, I'm running punching sweeps, toppling charge, radiant glory for more of the smaller groups. It gives you heals back when you execute. Reflective light. This is one of the key abilities in this. So it's a nice dot. It slows the enemy. It gives you that more spell critical. It hits hard. You know, a lot of people don't use it, but this thing does tick hard. And if you use Vampire's Bane as well, if you're doing dueling, that thing hits hard as well. And people don't realise how hard it is. A lot of people are running vampires nowadays. Yes, it catches people out, let's put it that way. Very quickly they don't realise how hard it's hitting. You can kind of spam it as the range ability. It's not ideal. It will hit for about 3.5k on somebody with the normal person in PvP. So it's not ideal to spam it, and obviously the flame damage doesn't stack. Then I run entropy for the empowerment and the additional health. Sorry, where is it? Structured. A lot of people have started to run degeneration, but because you're a high elf, you lack that sort of health, and it stacks really nicely with the heavy armor passives. Depending on which food you use, depending if you use tri-stat or bi-stat. If you use bi-stat, you're almost or just over 30k health on this build with around about 40k max magicka, so it's really nice, and about 11k max stam. I like to run tri. You'll see on my stats that the stats are a little bit lower than that. It does make hell of a difference. I run Dawnbreaker of Smiting for the knockdown and another dot. I know it's physical damage, but as you can see, it still hits really hard. You could run Lacerate if you wanted to. That's going to deal a lot of damage, and it does heal you, which is quite nice. Lacerate's not a bad shout. But use Dawnbreaker. It hits harder against the undead. You do starting to see a lot of werewolves running around in PvP again. You could run Nova if you're zerging. You know, another thing that people don't take much attention to, and it can actually catch them out, especially if somebody activates this energy. It's quite expensive though. Radial Sweep is another one you could put in there. These are sort of the alternatives, the cheaper alternatives, because I do know that Dawnbreaker is quite annoying to get, and so's Meteor. Meteor's another good one, but you know, if you've got it, you can run it. Barrier for the extra magicka regen if you wanted to. On the Sword and Shield bar, the reason you want to have Vicious Death on your Sword and Shield of 5 pieces, because you'll find yourself, especially when you fight in big groups, you'll be on your Sword and Shield bar a lot more than you'll be on your DPS. You apply your dots and you switch to your Sword and Shield for survivability. So on this bar, you'll run Ritual of Retribution, another dot. So what you can see, you're trying to build these dots, put these dots down that people don't realise. You know, they have to get up close to you, and then they're getting up close to you, they're getting closer to these stronger dots. So it tends to keep people away. Channeled Focus for the obviously your major buffs to resistance. Fully buffed up with Lord Wardens. I can't obviously show you at the moment, but I think it's around about 32k physical and spell resistance this build leaves you on. So you're pretty tanky. If you wanted to be even more tanky, you could take Vicious Death off if you want to play more of a support role and put Transmutation on. Breath of Life. Definite. All these passives, you don't need that passive. You're going to want to use Blazing Spear. Another dot, heavy CC, can't be blocked. Helps any stamina players in the game. Lots of stamina players. So even in PvP, this can still help a lot. Obviously, you can stun Nightblades, pull Nightblades out of sneak with it. And the ultimate for the back bar is Devouring Swarm. This is a definite. This is a lot of survivability, and obviously you've got Elusive Mist to escape immobilization. So don't, when you're talonsed or encased, people are using that more nowadays. Use Elusive Mist, or if you've walked into somebody's like Trap Beast, this will get you out. Multiple things like that. Things that snare you, or what do they call it? Trap you, whatever you want to call it, but don't stun you. So anything that doesn't require you to CC break, anything that requires you to dodge roll out of it, use Elusive Mist. Use your Magicka over your stamina, because you're going to need to CC. They're your abilities. The consumables. I obviously like to use Longfing Pasty. You can run Solitude Salmon Millet Soup if you want max health and max Magicka. You could run max health Magicka Recovery, but you will realise that your Magicka will drop quite a bit. Essence of Magicka, use them because they're cheap, but you can use Spell Power, Spell Crit, and Movability. You know, any of them, any of those listed. The Mundus I use the Mage because it synergizes really well with a high elf. You'll get more max Magicka to spell damage than the Apprentice. Onto the stats. So this is my shield bar. As you can see, the max health's quite low, but your resistance is so high, so that accounts for it. The stamina, the spell damage, the recovery. Recovery's quite low. Crit resistance. Those resist. I could show you the resistance. They're the resistance without procs. As soon as obviously Warden procs, that goes up. Warden's quite good as well to run, because if you get ganked, a lot of the times when you get hit or they do the second attack, Warden will proc and it will save you, because it will get you right up into those caps, especially if they pierce your armor as well. On the dual wield bar, this is the unbuffed spell damage. Now obviously I've got to make a gold sword, so it's a little bit low at the moment. It will be about 2,200, and then with entropy you're looking about 2,500. But you remember, you are running dots, so it's not crucial to have that high Magicka, but yeah, you obviously, yeah. Right. So the other sets you can run on here, you can run a max Magicka piece, like Ilambris for instance, and you could run Molokina. That would work quite nicely. I have seen Pirate Skeleton and Ilambris running. That really puts up your fixed base. It's not. It works very nice together if you're worried about getting smacked quite a bit. Yes, you can obviously run Guardian if you really want to and you think that it will benefit you, but I don't really enjoy it that much anymore. The other sets you could run the Lich. If you ran the Lich, I'd probably change your heavy armor from Seducer to Julianos. That would work quite nice, or Kagranax. Please, so that's the build, guys. If you have any questions, please write in the comments below. And please do like and subscribe, and I'll have more builds to come. Cheers.